This is a KMBC. No, this is KMOX, but this is sound from KMBC. Todd Akin, who wants to be the next U.S. Senator, was talking about President Barack Obama.
First of all, apologizing to all people, a lot of countries who are enemies, and apologizing to them and everything. You know, if we did something wrong, that's one thing, but he's just apologizing because he didn't like America.
Boy, Todd Akin is on the line with us right now. Congressman Todd Akin, I have been a friend of yours for a long time, but I just found that despicable for you to claim that the president does not like America.
Well, Charlie, let me try and put that in context. It doesn't seem anything that should surprise you at all. Let's take a look at this president. 3 days before taking his oath of office, he said that he wanted to fundamentally change America. Charlie, I want to fundamentally change our tax code. That doesn't mean I like it. It means I don't like it. I don't like things I want to fundamentally change. He doesn't apparently like our foreign policy. So he turns his back on Poland and the Czech Republic to curry favor with the Russians. And he's meeting with Chavez. And yet he turns his back on Netanyahu, who's one of our allies. He fundamentally wants to change our foreign policy. He doesn't like free enterprise because he wants to tax it. He doesn't like profit. And he doesn't like the private sector running health care. When you say you want to fundamentally change something, it means that you don't like it. I don't think my comments are out of line.
Boy, I'm very surprised because I think in a civil society we can certainly disagree on public policy matters, foreign policy matters, taxes, but we don't then suggest that if you disagree with me, that means you dislike our country. People of goodwill, Congressman, you know this, can have very different views on the world. But that doesn't mean that they don't like the world, or they can have very different views on our country. It doesn't mean they don't like it.
Well, my comment was designed to talk about the fact that he doesn't agree with who we are. He doesn't like our idea about free enterprise. He wants to tax it. He doesn't like our foreign policy. He won't meet with Netanyahu. Okay, so he wants to fundamentally change who we are, and that's my point. Okay, it's not a matter of somebody's heart or whether you love something. It's a matter of whether or not are you standing with who we are as a people. And he says, no, I want to fundamentally change who we are. And that's my point.
Well, you're saying if he doesn't meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, that means he doesn't like America?
Well, my point is that Netanyahu represents Israel. Israel is one of our staunchest allies in a very unstable region. And so the question is, what is it that he fundamentally wants to change over there? And why would he turn his back on our allies?
Congressman
That's
Akin,
my point.
We have examples in history, don't we? Ronald Reagan fundamentally changed America. That doesn't mean he disliked America. We had Lyndon Baines Johnson and civil rights, fundamentally changing civil rights in the South and elsewhere. He fundamentally changed the course of this country. That did not mean he disliked America.
Well, on the other hand, your examples are making changes to certain parts of the country, okay? But this is across the board. We have a president who has wanted to change about everything, and that's my point.
Why can't you just say, President Obama and I have some serious disagreements over the future of this country, and we don't agree on just about anything. But for then you to say that you know what's in his heart, that he does not like the United States. That just seems beyond the pale to me, Todd.
Well, look, the intent of my comment is not to judge a man's heart, okay? My intent is to talk about policy and the policies and actions of this administration. That's my point. Certainly, nobody knows what's in someone's heart other than the person themselves and God. But that's not the point. The point is that action after action after action, you say, whose side is this guy on?
Well, I disagree with the president like you do on many issues, especially the taxes. But I see him as a man of goodwill who seems to be a good father. And I agree with him on a lot of issues, like the importance of education. And I want to help the people at the bottom. We may have disagreements on how to do that. But I would never suggest that he doesn't like the United States of America. I think that when you get into that, Congressman, then you eliminate all debate because then it's almost an ad hominem attack. And that gets us away from the important civil discourse, which this country, frankly, really needs.
Well, now, I have always stood for civil discourse, and I've always stood for hearing other people out and being willing to consider all different kinds of ideas and perspectives. I'm not standing against that, but what I'm making is the case that across the board, this president has had the sense of wanting to change America so radically that the things you want to change radically mean that you don't like them. You wouldn't change them if you didn't like them. Okay, we don't like poverty. We don't like people that hate us fundamentally for who we are. Okay, and those are things that are core to what America stands for. I understand your point. It was certainly not my intent to judge another man's heart. I don't do that. But I was intending to make a point that here is a guy that from the beginning of the day that he took office has had a desire to completely change who America is.
Well, I would suggest that he wants major changes in America, but he's not the first person to want major changes, in different areas of American life. But, Congressman Akin, this kind of reminds me a little bit about a year ago when you said that liberals don't like God. And that kind of bothers me, too. It's just, come on, let's say I disagree with liberals, but I'm not going to say that liberalism or liberals do not like God.
Well, I was making a statement, if you recall, the context was liberalism, and I was talking about many people who had taken the cases to the Supreme Court and had to try to take prayer out of our schools and things like that. That was the direction of what I was saying, and then that was morphed into the fact that I was judging people. I was not judging people.
Well, if somebody out there believes that the healthcare system should be reformed, or
right.
if that person believes that we need major changes in the tax code, or
right.
if that person believes that we have really got to revamp our foreign policy, does that person dislike our country?
No, I don't think so. It's because I understand that people think, hey, we ought to do something a different way. That's fine, okay? But a fundamental change to America as a nation is different than selectively saying, hey, we ought to do our health care a different way, okay? Or maybe we've selected our allies in the world differently. It's different than saying that you have to change the entirety of what America is.
Well, Congressman, I'm afraid we're out of time. I want to thank you very much for calling in, and I know you love America, and so do I.
Okay. Well, and Charlie, I enjoy chatting with you. You're a great audience. And we've had a bunch of debates before, and I bet we're going to have a few more in the future.
Let's do another one. Sounds good to me.